Songs you love on local radio with no subscriptions and no monthly fees. But there's a new bill in Congress that could stop the music. If passed, this bill would tax your local radio station simply to play the music you love. Text LOCAL to 52886 and ask Congress to support local radio stations. Help us keep you connected to the music, local news, weather, and traffic that you need each day. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
You want to feel important.
You want to be part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things.
You want to feel like you belong.
We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it.
We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers.
We are normal people just like you. But our part-time service in the Army National Guard means we get to be more.
When our communities are in need, we get the chance to stand up and do something about it.
We get to serve in our own region and help the people we call neighbors.
From the lake shores of Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota,
the fertile fields of Indiana, Illinois, and Iowa, to the wide open plains of North and South Dakota.
We are here for our hometowns.
And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Illinois Army National Guard. Aired by the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show is streaming to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the phone today, Caitlin Mellendorf, is a nutrition educator with the University of Illinois Extension in in DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties. Good morning, Caitlin. How are you today?
Good morning. I think you must have had another county extension on.
I did.
Logan.
Yeah, I did. And then I was cutting up their audio the other day, and so that just totally threw me off. So I apologize for that. But
no worries. Happy chilly morning to you.
Absolutely. Chilly morning indeed. And as we get into these kind of chillier mornings, Caitlin, of course, that means for a lot of folks out there, the hunting season is right around the corner. Now, you and I aren't going to dive into the ins and outs of the hunting season. I'll let the DNR folks talk about that with us. But you and I are going to talk about when a deer is harvested, if there is excess meat from that deer, if a hunter is just has a feeling of goodwill and they want to donate, maybe some of that deer meat somewhere productive, Extension has a program for that. Tell us about this, Caitlin.
Yeah, so this is a culmination of a couple of years of work now. So now that we have officially started hunting season October 1, now we're almost to November, we are open to our Illinois Deer Donation Program, meaning that any hunter that would like to donate is welcome to. And so the donation goes to, you go hunting just like you normally would, and then you would bring your deer to one of our partnering processors to be processed. That meat will be ground in 1 pound and 2 pound packages, and then those will go to area food pantries in the 12 county pilot area that we're working in. And then that meat will be able to feed families. We are gonna, as Extension, we're gonna come and do what we do best, which is nutrition education. So we have staff that are gonna go in and talk about how do you store this venison when you get home? What are some recipes you can do with it? Food safety things, because of course I talk about that a lot. And it's going to serve across 12 counties. So I've got my list ready: Clay, Coles, Cumberland, DeWitt, Douglas, Effingham, Fayette, Jasper, Macon, Moultrie, Piatt, and Shelby. And so this is where all of the pantries will be partnering with us. That does not mean you have to be a hunter from living in those counties. You can hunt from anywhere. Even if you're out of state and you want to come hunt in Illinois, you just need to bring it to one of the 5 partnering processors that we have, which of course I did not pull that list up. So that's going to take me a moment just to pull that. But we're super excited. We just got our first deer donated late last week. My week is off earlier this week. And we're so excited. So that got donated to our partner processor in Mattoon. Mm-hmm. And so my computer will work fast enough, I will pull up our processor list because I
Well, as you get
was
that
not.
Well, as you get that pulled up, Caitlin, with this program, of course, you mentioned it's relatively a newer program. So talk to me a little bit about how it's been received when you've been able to get this out there, because I know that it's been something you've done in the past. What do folks say when you're out there doing these things?
Yeah, so Illinois Department of Natural Resources has had a previous program, and that had been on pause due to funding. And so we are trying to kind of get this moving with extension and pulling in the nutrition education piece of that. So we're so thankful. Our processors are on board. I've talked to many hunters that are super excited that they get to either maybe buy an extra tag this year or just be able to know that their deer goes to feed the hungry in a county that they live in or a nearby county. And then also that we've got businesses that are super excited to help us promote. So we have yard signs, so you can start seeing yard signs and posters at different businesses that either sell hunting equipment or just businesses that are in the mindset of conservation and helping the hungry. Mm-hmm. And so having the yard signs or something, they're like, yep, just put them in our yards and on our business property. We're super excited to help you out. So we are so thankful. And I did finally find my list. So for any hunters that want to donate, our 5 partnering processors for this fall are Morgan's Meat Market in Mattoon, Moequa Packing Plant in Moequa, Blair's in Louisville, Salt and Strings also in Louisville, and then Hartrick Meats in St. Marie.
Mm-hmm. Caitlin, is there anything as it relates to this program that I haven't touched on, or we haven't touched on, that you want to put out there? Anything that I'm missing in this discussion?
So it's very much a full circle thing. So we've got the hunters bringing meat to the processors, and then we'll take that to our pantries. And so along with that piece, that very generous donation from the hunters, we are also accepting monetary donations. So if you're not a hunter but you think this is something that you want to support, we are taking financial funding, fundraising through this program. And what that money goes towards is paying our meat processors for their time and their effort. So you're not paying the program directly, you're going to help balance off or kind of offset the cost. So it's free to the hunter to donate, and then it is essentially making sure that the processor gets reimbursed for their time and their effort doing this very important service for us.
Very good. Where do they go to learn more about this program, Caitlin?
So I'm going to send everyone to one of 2 places. You can visit our Facebook page, which is Illinois Deer Donation Program, or if you want to go to the webpage that has a lot more details, kind of all chunked together, that is go.illinois.edu/deer donation.
Very good. Very good. Again, Caitlin Mellendorf, nutrition educator, University of Illinois Extension, our guest here on the phone. And Caitlin, as we enter the holiday season, of course, things kind of kick off with Halloween, and then it's right into Thanksgiving and obviously Christmas and those sorts of things. And had an exercise and nutrition gentleman on, an expert on a couple of weeks ago. And I made the point to him, you could make the argument, Caitlin, that kind of the holidays, I would say, start with Thanksgiving. We've got these Halloween parties, lots of candy passed out, obviously, the day of Halloween and parties leading up to it. And so, we're kind of inundated with the sweet treats and those sorts of things. And then it's right into Thanksgiving where we're doing, turkeys and whatever other maybe alternatives we do to turkey. So let's talk food safety as we get into this discussion and just what we need to know as we prepare these meals throughout the holiday season. What do you have for us today?
Yeah, so I know we come back to this topic every season because it's always a good refresher for everyone that's going to be hosting holidays, or even if you're just doing a small gathering with immediate family, to think about how you're going to be presenting food and doing it safely. So the general kind of 4-part breakdown is clean, separate, cook, and chill. So cleaning is about things such as hand washing, making sure that you're washing produce before you chop into it. The separate is making sure that products that are considered ready to eat. So if you've got your potato salad that's ready to go, you've got your mac and cheese that's ready to go, you've got balsamic Brussels sprouts that are ready to go, you're making sure that all those recipes are keeping separate from things that still need to be cooked, particularly for raw protein. So things like you're working on that turkey, you're working on that ham, making sure that we're separating those things. So that's separate cutting boards, that's separate knives for our raw foods versus our cooked foods, because if we are mixing and matching those, we likely are contaminating one side of the cutting board or one side of the knife. And so that is a great way to transfer, foodborne illness, and we don't want that. So making sure we're using separate items for our cooked and our raw foods. The cook is just taking temperatures, so making sure that you have a food thermometer that's functioning. I know I need to replace my digital one. It's not working well. So I've got a it's not really analog and thermometer rule, but I've got a standard dial thermometer as my backup that works. It just is a little bit slower than my digital one. So making sure that you're taking food temperatures. I always like to send people to foodsafety.gov, and it will have all the different listings for different food temperatures. And then the last one is, oh my gosh, clean, separate, cook, chill. So chill is about having, if you have leftover food that you plan to save, making sure that you are doing that in a safe manner. So primarily this is for leftover foods that are going to be refrigerated. When a food is coming out of a hot cooking method, so out of the oven, out of your slow cooker, off of your stove, once it's taken off that heat, we are getting 2 hours between when we need to, we can start eating on it, but once it comes off of its heat source, you get 2 hours to then move it back into some type of cold storage if you want to use those as leftovers. If you're planning to set up a buffet for your holidays and you're just going to leave things out for several hours, you can always use equipment like ice, or if you want to use things like slow cookers to keep things warm, you can do that, and you would get longer than 2 hours. But if things are going to sit out at room temperature, 2 hours is that rough time if you want to save it for leftovers. If you're not super concerned about saving leftover dips or leftover appetizers, then you can let those go up to 4 hours at room temperature, as long as you don't plan to save them. Mm-hmm. So again, there's a lot of nuance to the food safety and what you plan to do with it. So I'm going to send everybody to foodsafety.gov for more of those details.
Definitely. And those are a lot of things, Caitlin, that as we talk about the holidays, you really don't want, food illness to beset your guests, whether it's undercooking meat, whether it's leaving, things out longer than they should be, those types of things. I mean, that's a good way to quickly kill a party if you're worried about those things.
Yeah, and definitely the compounding factor is that we're getting into cold and flu season for the fall. And so we also want to be looking at, are you cooking with a runny nose, and how are your hands? Are you kind of rubbing the back of your nose, or maybe, oh my
back
gosh,
of your hand?
It really does feel like Monday for me. If you are using the back of your hand to maybe wipe a runny nose, are you then forgetting, or are you remembering, which would be even better, to go wash your hands because you've now got cold germs on your hands? So I think that's another thing that also can be really important to think about. Are you sick during cooking, and how are you going to make sure that you're not contaminating maybe your cold germs into the food as well?
Sure. So a lot of good things to think about there, Caitlin. Anything else as it relates to food safety you want to make sure we know this morning?
Yeah, if you're not used to doing things like food temperatures, it's definitely easier once you get into a rhythm. So make sure that you have a food thermometer on hand. Make sure that it's working well. Maybe it needs a new battery. If it's a digital one, you can always calibrate them. We've got resources to help people calibrate with just ice water. And so that's just the thing, to get into the habit of taking temperatures any time of year, so that when it comes to the holidays, especially when you're wanting to make sure that your guests are not going to get sick, you're already in that habit of taking food temperatures.
Sure. Very good. Caitlin, again, where do folks go for more information?
So you can head to our extension website. We've got a page, extension.illinois.edu/food, and we have some resources on food safety. Or I also like sending people to foodsafety.gov for more of those resources.
Caitlin Mellendorf, nutrition educator, University of Illinois Extension, our guest on the phone for this morning. More to come with her on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Friday. I'm Jim Taylor for the RFD Radio Network. Corn, beans, and wheat all starting the day lower. December corn opening 679.5 down 2 3/4. March corn 685 down 2 3/4. May corn starting the day 684 1/4 down 2 3/4. November beans 1373 3/4 down 8.5. January beans down 9 to start this Friday session. 1384 1/2. March beans 1392 3/4 down 9 1/4. December Chicago wheat 828 down 10 1/2. March wheat down 10 1/2. 847 1/2. May wheat 858 down 10 1/2. December bean meal 415.20. That's down 20 cents. And December bean oil 71.56 down 74 cents. The opening numbers for this Friday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
Are you a friend of agriculture? This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. We're giving a $500 Friends of Ag discount to anyone that orders a new Chevrolet or Buick to be built just for you this month. Are you a friend of ag? You are if you're a member of any ag organization, employed by any ag-related business, including research, inputs, manufacturing, sales, and marketing, and of course, ag education. Come in, order yours today. BaumChevyBuick.com. Right from the start.
Clinton Save-A-Lot owner Dave Jackson here with a supply chain update. While we're working as best we can to keep our shelves stocked with the items you need and want every day, we're experiencing never-before-seen interruptions in product availability and delivery, both through Save-A-Lot and our direct suppliers. In most cases, they can't run their production lines due to the lack of workers, plus a shortage of truck drivers. Despite all that, we're working to keep the meat, produce, and other products you buy in stock and on our shelves every day. Your Clinton Save-A-Lot appreciates your business, and we hope to see you soon.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Caitlin Mellendorf, nutrition educator, University of Illinois Extension, on the phone with us. And Caitlin, let's talk a little bit about, as we get into November. November is Diabetes Month, so tell us a little bit about what Extension does during Diabetes Awareness Month and some of the resources you have available.
Yeah, and so actually, Thursday, we just finished our 6-part diabetes kind of virtual series to get people kind of acquainted to what are some resources out there, not just from the nutrition side of diabetes care, but all the other providers that you can use for your diabetes care. So of course, your primary care provider, you might be referred to an endocrinologist who works with hormones in your diabetes care. Of course, a dietitian like myself. You can work with a physical therapist or a personal trainer to work on movement if you're, needing some assistance moving your body, or if your diabetes has given you some side effects, like some people have nerve damage in different extremities, like their fingers and toes. So we want to be really cognizant, especially in Diabetes Month, to get the awareness out that diabetes is a large chunk of the population. So roughly 1 in 10 people around the country have diabetes, and then about 1 in 3 people have pre-diabetes. And so we want to make sure that people have the resources to really get to the good outcomes for their blood sugar, for making sure we're limiting side effects that can happen with uncontrolled diabetes. And so check out for local resources, whether it's through your hospitals, your clinics, your health departments, and then of course your extension office around the area to find classes or events that are happening near you. And then we have a newly revamped website around diabetes. So that website is diabetes.extension.illinois.edu. And so it has recipes, it has background information, and it kind of helps give a good guide for what do you do when you get diabetes, because it's a big diagnosis to get it the first time. And if you've had it for years, you're trying to learn how you manage your food, your life, your activity, and all the things, your stress levels, all the things that go into that.
Sure.
So it is a big undertaking when you get diabetes. So we want to provide some resources if and when that happens, and to kind of keep you on a good path for managing your blood sugar.
Caitlin, how about, and to some extent, diabetes is preventable. So how about just prevention measures? What can we do to keep from getting diabetes?
Yeah, so the Centers for Disease Control has a pre-diabetes program. And so the research around that curriculum shows that for a number of people, they're following that curriculum. So there is involvement of activity, and a sustained weight loss for a number of people is shown to reduce their risk substantially from moving from that pre-diabetes state to having diabetes. So that is a huge thing. If you have a program like that in your area, go utilize it. Otherwise, continue to learn about nutrition and how you need to maybe probably switch up your life a little bit, which is kind of intimidating, but to really learn about nutrition education. This is something that we in Extension do quite a bit throughout the year, is offer diabetes specific programs. So we are happy to answer your questions if you have them, or get you in touch with providers that can help you do that one-on-one training that we don't provide.
Definitely. So very good. And Caitlin, as we wrap up this discussion, anything there I missed you want to put out there for us?
No, I want people to utilize that. I know it's scary to go get testing, but go see your provider every year. You get that well visit, typically covered by insurance. So go do a well visit, have your blood sugar tested, and make sure that you're keeping track. I know it's hard sometimes to see not scary test results, but maybe higher than normal levels on things like blood tests, but we're able to support you and be here for you and work through your diabetes care.
Very good. Where do they go again, one more time, Caitlin, for all that information?
Yeah, go visit diabetes.extension.illinois.edu.
Very good. Caitlin, let's dive into in our final minutes together here this morning, talking about harvest meals. And as our farmers are out in the fields and getting that grain and corn out of the ground, of course, that's long hours in the fields. And, we're driving at night, seeing guys still out in the fields and such. So likely they're eating on the tailgate or at the combine. So what should we know about nutrition and these combine meals, Caitlin?
Yeah, so often this is going to be the supporting players of the farmer. So this is going to be spouses and partners. This is going to be extended family that are bringing foods out to the farmers that are in the field for those many, many hours. And so making sure that we're focusing meals on things that travel well. So we could have a whole separate discussion on food safety, but from a nutrition standpoint, having foods that have some protein, some fat, and some fiber. So we need a protein source. We need some fat, some preferably healthier fats that are more liquid. So things like oils, avocados, nuts, and seeds, and then some good high quality fibrous carbohydrates. So things that have, vegetables, whole grains, fruits, and then making sure you have some snacks available. So especially when you're going to do long hours, have your supporting players, farmers that are listening, have your supporting players bring you some snacks that can hang out with you. So when you get hungry, you're able to snack on those. I don't want people going for hours without food when they're hungry. We want people to eat.
Right. Yeah, I'll tell you what, hunger headaches, they can really be debilitating sometimes. So want to keep fed and get that nutrients and protein in you as often as you can.
Yeah. And so for the farmers, and the supporting players that are listening to, keep focusing on the nutrition. It's maybe difficult when you're trying to bring meals to the field, especially for maybe a large number of farm workers, but do your best to get the fruits, the veggies, the whole grain foods, and some good quality proteins and heart healthy fats. And of course, you can always check out Extension for different recipes that are going to help you build that. And happy harvest. I think a lot of farmers are either in the middle or maybe getting close to being done. So I know
Sure.
it's an exciting time for everybody.
Well, Caitlin, I hate to do this to you. I got to let you go. Caitlin Mellendorf, Nutrition Educator, U of I Extension Network News is now.
The Big 1520 WHOW Clinton, 92.3 FM, W222 BG